Let's talk Pilates certification. A lot of you guys reached out and said you're considering it, which I love, makes me so happy. I wanted to summarize everything that I wish I knew before I kicked off the process. So this will be the basics of everything I think you should know starting out with Pilates certification. We're gonna cover costs, time, and then also help with picking the right program. First thing you should know is there's different types of Pilates certifications, and then there's different ways to get certified. For the different types, those are usually categorized as whether the training program is classical style Pilates or contemporary style Pilates. So very simply put, you just decide what style of Pilates you likely want to teach, and then you would pick a training program based on that. Now let's talk the different ways to get certified. This is where it gets very complicated and overwhelming because there's so many different options out there and there's just a ton of research that you can do. There are 3 different ways to get certified. One is through a globally recognized Pilates organization, Peak Pilates, Balanced Body, BASI, STOTS, and I think there's a handful of others, but these are organizations that have been around for decades doing Pilates instructor training and certification. They, like the name says, are globally recognized, so if you up and decide to move to Paris, your certification likely will carry because they have a great reputation within the industry. The second way to get certified is through a franchise. That is usually a national franchise like Club Pilates or Equinox. They both have their own certification and training programs that is specific to their style of teaching and their franchise model. So you could go the franchise route. I would say the franchise route is really only if you love that franchise and you definitely want to teach at that franchise. So I wouldn't say go to a franchise for training if you just want to get certified in Pilates in general, but if you love Club Pilates and you love taking classes there and you've had a great experience and you have an instructor that recommended it, then I would say go the Club Pilates route. But franchise is really if you like that specific style because they're catering it to that franchise and they're training you based on how that franchise approaches things. The third way to get certified is through a small local studio. And I'm not saying all local studios are like this, but there is a huge risk with the local studio approach where many of these local studios use teacher training as a cash grab. They will charge eager instructors, people who don't have the context that I'm giving in this video, don't have the context, they will charge them $3,000, give them 50 hours of training, print out a Canva certificate, and tell them that they are a certified instructor. You very well may be able to teach at that specific studio, but if you do decide to move on somewhere else and you teach somewhere new, that new studio likely will not recognize the certification that you got from that small boutique studio because they have no idea what was included in the training versus an organization like the franchises or like the globally recognized organizations where their programming is very well known and recognized within the industry. So just be mindful of that. I'm not saying all local studios are like that, but many of them have that approach and it's just not transferable. So you'd be better off going with option 1 or 2, in my opinion. Now let's talk costs. Pilates certification is very, very, very expensive. This is probably the most shocking part of this entire process. Certification can range anywhere from like $2,000 to $10,000 depending on the type of certification that you get. So if you're certified in everything, meaning you teach mat, you teach reformer, and you teach all forms of apparatuses, that will be on the higher end. That will probably take you a full year to complete and it will be anywhere from like $8,000 to $10,000. If you want to get certified in mat only or reformer only, you can do those a little bit quicker, but they're still going to cost you anywhere from like $2,000 to $3,000. So not cheap by any means, but let me know if you have any other questions. Those are the basics and like everything I wish I knew before I started navigating this process.